Hello everyone. So for today, we will be learning a new topic that is National Committee and Commissions for Women, which is in Unit 1. So in this topic, the very first thing is we will be looking into the Towards the Equality Report in 1974-75. The title of this particular report was the Committee on the Status of Women in India, and it highlighted the discriminatory social practices such as dowry, polygamy, bigamy, child marriage, etc., prevalent in that particular time frame. It mainly emphasized upon the legal awareness and equal pay for equal work for the women to gain the empowerment. And two of the important personalities who were involved were Veena Majumdar and Latika Sarkar. Moving ahead, we see the objectives of this particular report, and it was to assess the impact of constitutional, legal, and administrative provisions, examine the status of women in changing social patterns, and suggest the remedial and other measures in the field of law, education, employment, population policy, etc. Keeping this particular report intact, there was a book which was written by Sarla Gopalan, The Unfinished Agenda Towards the Equality. Okay, now moving ahead, we will look into the Ministry of Women and Child Development. And this particular ministry, it came into effect from January 2006. Earlier, it was known as MHRD, and the main mission of this particular ministry is the empowerment of women, safe and secure childhood. There are certain subjects that has been allocated to this ministry. That's very simple. That is the welfare of the family, women and child development, and also UNO reference about the trafficking of women and children. Moving ahead, we see that there are 6 autonomous organizations that has been associated with MWCD, and these 6 organizations are responsible for the functioning of several ideas behind MWCD. The very first is Central Social Welfare Board, which was being it came into effect, it became effective from 1956. 1966, NIPCCD, that is National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development. 1990, Central Adoption Resource Authority, that is CARA. 1992, National Commission for Women, that is NCW. 1993, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. 2007, National Commission for Protection of Child Right, NCPCR. Looking each organization, autonomous organizations into detail, the very first we have 1956 Central Social Welfare Board, and it was being set up in 1953, but it became effective only from 1956. The founding chairman was Durgabai Deshmukh, and it is registered under the Companies Act 1956. This organization is fully funded by Government of India, and it assists in various functions, including some programs and schemes. The very recent initiative, the Palna scheme by Ministry of Women and Child Development, has been assisted by CSWB. The mission again is to raise awareness about the legal and the human rights. The next we have is National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development, NIPCCD, and it has recently been renamed as Savitribai Phule National Institute of Women and Child Development. It is working under Societies Regulation Act 1880, and it is for the research, training, and documentation of overall ministry and women and child development there. The next we have a Central Adoption Resource Authority, which was being set up in 1990. And it is an autonomous organization. And the main function is it monitors and regulates in-country and intra-country adoption. So the adoptions happening within India and also the foreign nationals coming to India and adopting children from India. It has been regulating and monitoring those adoptions. It is with accordance with the Hague Convention 1993 inter-country adoptions, and it was it was only the guidelines was suggestive in measures. However, with the result of Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Children Act from 2015, it gained its legal framework. Moving ahead, a very important National Commission for Women, and it was set up in 1992 under National Commission for Women in 1990. The composition of this particular organization is it has one chairperson and five other members. And looking into the objectives, it review the constitutional and legal safeguard for women. It recommend remedial legislative measures, facilitate redressal grievances, advise the government on all policy matters, and it is functioning like a civil court. Again, the functions, it is advisory, it is and planning of the socio-economic development. It examines all the matters related to safeguard, and it funds the litigation involving issues affecting a large body of women. So basically, the functions of NCW is advisory in nature, helping the government on the various constitutional and legal reforms. Then they are nine chairpersons till date. And each one of that, you have to remember in the chronological order. They have been asking questions, such starting from Jayanti Patnaik ji to the recent Vijaya Kishore Rahatkar ji. Moving ahead, we have in 1993 Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, and it has been set up under Societies Regulation Act 1880. The main function is it provides loan to various NGOs and micro financial institutions, especially to help these self-help groups and other women empowerment schemes. In 2007, we have National Commission for Protection of Child Right, NCPCR, and it is to protecting and safeguarding of the rights of children. The children here, it defines any person up to the age of 18 years. So all these are the six autonomous organizations you are expected to learn in the chronology in a chronological order. They have been asking questions on this. This is really important because recently NIPCCD has been renamed as Savitri Bai Phule, and there is a high chances that maybe in December or the next June there will be questions coming from this particular topic. And next, we have these other international organization, and the very first is UN Women. So it is been established in July 2010 by United Nations. So United Nations, UN, it's created UN Women, especially for the empowerment and gender equality, dedicated to gender equality and empowerment of women. It has been merging the four parts of it. Just remember the name, DAW, Instraw, Osage, and Unifem. And it works globally to make the SDG reality for women. Also remember that in 1975, UN Women has designated this as International Women's Year. And the International Women Decade is from 1976 to 1985. There are a few factual questions that they have been asking in the previous papers. So yes, you should be keeping this in mind. The vision of UN Women has been enshrined in the UN Charter. So it is the elimination and discrimination against women and girls, empowerment of women, achievement of equality between men and women as partners, and beneficiaries of development, human rights, humanitarian actions, etc. The roles that you should be remembering is to support intergovernment bodies, help member states to implement these standards, and hold UN system accountable for its own commitments, especially about the SDG goals. The next is that we have is the Commission of Status of Women, and this is the principal global intergovernmental body. It is dedicated to promotion again to gender equality and empowerment of women, and it was being established by Economic and Social Council, that is ICSOC, in June 1946. This commission has also contributed to 2030 agenda for SDG, and it has a theme like every year. The status commission, okay, this commission of status of women is different from what we have for the report that was the committee of status of women in towards the equality report. So they have a theme every year. They have a theme for 25. It is for all women and girls rights, equality, empowerment. And the next year, that is 2026, it is specifically very important because it will be the 70 years of CSW. And the theme is to ensuring and strengthening the access to justice for all women and girls, including by promoting inclusive and equitable legal system, eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, practices, and addressing structural barriers. So, yes, to 2026 is important. It is the 70 years of CSW, and I would appreciate if you could just remember the theme here. Looking ahead, this particular organization is responsible for organizing the four World Conferences of Women. So, the very first conference was in Mexico, 1975, and it was about the equality of women and their contribution in development and peace. The next, we had it in Copenhagen in 1980, and it is a very important conference, and it agreed on the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW. That is one of the important. Next, we have Nairobi, 1985, and it is Progress in Women's Equality and Conference for Women. And the last we have till date is Beijing, 1995, which was prepared a declaration for a platform for action. And this is a blueprint, the most progressive blueprint for advancing women's rights. It covers 12 major framework areas, such as women in environment, in decision making, economy, how poverty, violence against women, human rights, education, training, health, arms conflict, so on and so forth. So, now talking about this particular topic, Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. As we all know, it was signed in Second World Conference, Copenhagen in 1980. Currently there are 189 countries that are the state parties of this particular convention, and it was adopted in 1979 by United Nations General Assembly. This particular bill is also known as International Bill of Rights for Women, or it is also recognized as the reproductive rights of women. Moving ahead, this convention is structured into six parts and 30 articles. Part 1, from Article 1 to 6, it focuses on non discrimination, sex stereotypes, sex trafficking, prostitutions, etc. Part 2, Article 7 from 9, it outlines women's rights in public spheres and emphasizes on political life representation and rights of nationality. The next we have Part 3, Article 10 to 14. It describes the economic and social rights of women, focusing on education, employment, health, etc. Also, it has a special protection of rural women and the problems they are facing. So, Part 3 also covers rural women and their issues. Part 4, Article 15 to 16 outlines women right to equality in marriage and family. Part 5, 17 to 22, it is mainly basically responsible for rules of procedure that the CEDAW is supposed to carry. And the last we have Part 6, Article 23 to 30, and it describes the effects of convention and all other treaties, like how the state parties are going to make it more effective. So, this is what the national committees and commissions we have. And keeping this in mind, I would like to say that we have already started with our paid course for women's studies, course code 074 here. And we have already completed unit 2. We are almost completing unit 2. And there are the questions that we are looking, also the current affairs part of it, and we are looking into the other aspects, learning it from various, from different perspective, bringing different debates and ideologies onto the platform. So all those of you who are would like to join us, please, the number is being given on the screen. Do leave us a message, and we will guide you how to enroll in this particular coursework. So I would suggest that please keep your studies well. Because exams are going to be in December, and keep studying well, keep practicing these previous year papers, and start learning more and more about it. Okay, take it, chalo fir. Thank you so much here, and I'll see you guys in the next. Thank you.